In the interest of the learners, this video is brought to you by Educationist Guru.
Solid waste management is a term that is used to refer to the process of collecting and treating solid waste. It also offers solutions for recycling items that do not belong to garbage or trash. As long as people have been living in settlements and residential areas, garbage or solid waste has been an issue. Waste management is all about how solid waste can be changed and used as a valuable resource. Solid waste management should be embraced by each and every household, including the business owners across the world. Industrialization has brought a lot of good things and bad things as well. One of the negative effects of industrialization is the creation of solid waste. Solid waste management is according to Britannica, it can be defined as the collecting, treating and disposing of solid material that is discarded because it has served its purpose or is no longer useful. Improper disposal of municipal solid waste can create unsanitary conditions, and these conditions in turn can lead to pollution of the environment and to outbreaks of vector-borne disease, that is, diseases spread by rodents and insects. There are various sources of solid waste. Like every ton of solid waste is disposed of at various landfill sites. This waste comes from homes, offices, industries and various other agricultural related activities. These landfill sites produce foul smell. If this waste is not stored and treated properly, it can pollute the surrounding air and can seriously affect the health of humans, wildlife and our environment. There are some major sources of solid waste. Like in residential areas where people live are some of the major sources of solid waste. Garbage from these places include food waste, plastics, paper, glass, leather, cardboard, metals, yard waste, ashes and special waste like bulky household items like electronics, tires, batteries, old mattresses and used oil. Most homes have garbage bins where they can throw away their solid waste in, and later the bin is emptied by a garbage collecting firm or person for treatment. Industrial waste, like from industrial sources, are known to be one of the biggest contributors of solid waste. They include light and heavy manufacturing industries, construction sites, fabrication plants, canning plants, power and chemical plants. These industries produce solid waste in the form of housekeeping waste, food waste, packaging waste, ashes, construction and demolition materials, special waste, medical waste, as well as other hazardous waste. From commercial facilities and buildings are yet another source of solid waste today. Commercial buildings and facilities in this case refer to hotels, markets, restaurants, godowns, stores and office buildings. Some of the solid waste generated from these places include plastics, food waste, metals, paper, glass, wood, cardboard materials, special waste and other hazardous waste. From institutional centers like schools, colleges, prisons, military barracks and other government centers also produce solid waste. Some of the common solid waste obtained from these places include glass, rubber waste, plastics, food waste, wood, paper, metals, cardboard materials, electronics as well as various hazardous waste. From the sources like which give solid waste from construction and demolition areas, like construction sites and demolition sites also contribute to the solid waste problem. Construction sites include new construction sites for building and roads, road repair sites, building renovation sites and building demolition sites. Some of the solid waste produced in these places include steel materials, concrete, wood, plastics, rubber, copper wires, dirt and glass. Municipal services like urban centers also contribute immensely to the solid waste crisis in most countries today. Some of the solid waste brought about by municipal services include street cleaning, waste from parks and beaches, wastewater treatment plants, landscaping waste, and waste from recreational areas including sludge. Treatment plants and sites. Heavy and light manufacturing plants also produce solid waste. They include refineries, power plants, processing plants, mineral extraction plants, and chemical plants. Among the waste produced by these plants include industrial process waste, unwanted specification products, plastics, metal parts, just to mention but a few. From agricultural sources like crop farms, orchards, dairies, vineyards, and feedlots are also sources of solid waste. Among the waste they produce, including agricultural waste, spoiled food, pesticide, containers, and other hazardous materials. From biomedical sources like to hospital, it refers to hospital and biomedical equipment and chemical manufacturing firms. In hospitals, there are different types of solid waste produced. Some of these solid waste include syringes, bandages, used gloves, drugs, paper, plastics, food waste, and chemicals. All these require proper disposal or else they will cause a huge problem to the environment and the people in these facilities. The effects of poor maintenance or effects of poor solid waste management is because of the improper waste disposal system, particularly by municipal waste management teams. Waste heap up and become a problem. In developing countries, people clean their homes and place of work and litter their surroundings, which affects the environment and the community. This type of dumping of waste materials forces biodegradable materials to rot and decompose under improper, unhygienic, and uncontrolled conditions. After a few days of decomposition, a foul smell is produced and it becomes a breeding ground for different types of diseases, causing insects as well as infection organisms. On top of that, it also spoils the aesthetic value of the area. Solid waste from industries are sources of toxic metals, hazardous waste, and chemicals. When released to the environment, the solid waste can cause biological and psychochemical problems to the environment and may affect or alter the productivity of the soil in that particular area. Toxic materials and chemicals may seep into the soil and pollute the groundwater. During the process of collecting solid waste, the hazardous waste usually mix with ordinary garbage and other flammable waste, making the disposal process even harder and risky. When hazardous waste like pesticides, batteries containing lead, mercury or zinc, cleaning solvents, radioactive materials, e-waste, popularly known as electronic waste, and plastics are mixed up with paper and other scraps are burned, they produce dioxins and gases. These toxic gases have a potential of causing various diseases including lung cancer. Methods of solid waste management, like different methods like sanitary landfill. It is the most popular solid waste disposal method used today. Garbage is basically spread out in thin layers, compressed and covered with soil or plastic foam. Modern landfills are designed in such a way that the bottom of the landfill is covered with an impervious liner, which is usually made of several layers of thick plastic and sand. This liner protects the groundwater from being contaminated because of leaching or percolation. When the landfill is full, it is covered with layers of sand, clay, topsoil and gravel to prevent seepage of water. Next is incineration. This method involves burning of solid waste at high temperatures until the waste are turned into ashes. Incinerators are made in such a way that they do not give off extreme amounts of heat when burning solid waste. This method of solid waste management can be done by individuals, municipalities and even institutions. The good thing about this method is the fact that it reduces the volume of waste up to 20 to 30% of the original volume. Recovery and recycling of resources is the process of taking useful but discarded items for next use. Traditionally, these items are processed and cleaned before they are recycled. The process aims at reducing energy loss, consumption of new material and reduction of landfills. Composting is because of lack of adequate space for landfills. Biodegradable yard waste is allowed to decompose in a medium designed for the purpose. Only biodegradable waste materials are used in composting. Good quality, environmentally friendly manure is formed from the compost and can be used for agricultural purposes. Pyrolysis is a method of solid waste management whereby solid waste are chemically decomposed by heat without presence of oxygen. This usually occurs under pressure and at temperatures of up to 430 degrees Celsius. The solid wastes are changed into gases, solid residue and small quantities of liquid. In summary, proper solid waste management is an integral part of the environment conservation that should be observed by individuals and companies globally. This will keep the environment clean and reduce health and settlement problems. How can an individual help in effective waste management? Keeping the streets, sidewalks, and other public places free from garbage by utilizing the garbage bins, thus keeping the streets clean and free from litter and debris. Placing the solid waste from households in a single location so that the garbage is easily picked up by the garbage collection personnel. Using kitchen waste in the form of food scraps as compost heap to be used in the garden or giving it to garbage collection personnel. Reusing shopping bags and baskets whenever going for a grocery shop or a supermarket until they are no longer fit for reuse and disposing them in a proper way. Medical waste must be disposed of properly by disposing them in the drop boxes or supervised collection sites and incinerator centers. Thank you.